let me start by asking one question. Who believes that failure is a part of success? I do. Yeah. Well, actually, my story is the other way around. My story is about success leading on to failure. So let's begin. 10 years ago, back in 2008, I decided to quit my job, and I started my first business. Everything went well. Soon it became successful, it became profitable. It was a real estate company. I was specializing in property management. So, a little bit like JB, I was full of confidence. I was on a high. I felt invincible. I felt unstoppable. I felt like anything that I could do would be successful. But it's not true. So, I decided that I wanted to franchise my business. I think it was all driven by ego, really. Ego is a very short word, but it can lead to big consequences, as I discovered. Franchising sounded like a good idea. Getting somebody else to replicate my ideas, to use my name, and hopefully pay me an income for doing so, it sounded quite attractive. So I hired a consultant. I spent lots of money. I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of effort and a lot of work to try and franchise my business. But what I discovered is actually franchising your business is not very easy at all. It actually is incredibly difficult. I ended up selling 0 franchises. But because I was in the franchise world, so to speak, spending time with the consultant, I ended up buying a franchise instead. So I guess I sold mine as one franchises. Yes, I know, expensive mistake. Anyway, I bought a music festival's franchise. This is a little bit different from real estate, and it was playing to my ego. It sounded like fun. It sounded like something interesting. And I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. We'll have some fun. The idea was to put on 5 music festivals every year in the London area, in and around Greater London. And so we bought the franchise, did the training, and we put on one and only one franchise festival in the end. It was in Enfield in North London. We had the most amazing lineup. As you can see, we had some famous guests. But our lineup was second to none. We had Oasis, we had Guns N' Roses, we had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and we even had the Killers. I mean, the lineup was amazing, yet it was still a failure. How, I hear you ask? Good, well done. Well, the franchise that I had bought was called Fake Festivals. Now, Fake Festivals is a legitimate company. It's a real company. They put on music festivals all around the UK using tribute bands. Now, tribute bands, if anyone doesn't know that, it's a pretend band. So actually, the bands that I had on at my festival in Enfield was the Fillers, the Really Hot Chili Peppers, Guns 2 Roses, and Oasis. They're actually bloody good. Some of them make their living out of pretending to be the bands. Some of them do it as a sideline, but they are really, really very good. Anyway, as you can see, Pavarotti was there, even though he was dead. But you know. So, what went wrong? Well, the actual festival went okay on the night. As the organisers here, as I'm sure are aware, putting on a live event is hard. It's stressful. It takes a lot of time to get traction, a lot of promotion, and a lot of work. We managed to fill the festival, I would say around 50 or 60%, which was not bad. We had an atmosphere. We had some great music. It seemed to go okay. But looking back, what was my failure? Well, my biggest failure was failing to understand my customers. Now, London is a big city. It's a big city where you can actually watch these actual bands in London, not perhaps come to to see the fake bands. And I think I underestimated my customers a little bit because I think that in London people are a little bit too sophisticated for the fake version, and that was my mistake. It's something that I've learned by. I mean, I think that's understanding your customer and who they are and what goes on in their mind is probably one of the reasons why we don't have a JD in Elitus. I mean, you know, you have to understand your customer. So I've learned by that. The experience was an interesting one. It was relatively costly, but I would certainly have learned a lot from it. One of the most important things that I learned was how to, was losing money and what it feels like. Something that I have done again, but I think once you understand and what you feel like, you know, losing is a very important lesson. Certainly I learned a lot of business ideas and a lot of lessons were learned that I've carried through into new businesses and also into successful and failing businesses over here in Lithuania. So it was a very valid time of my life. What I did learn though, and this is a very important one to all the chaps in the audience, all the men, is listen to your wife. Because my wife did actually say to me when I was starting with these crazy ideas, she said, "I'm not sure this is going to work." And perhaps she was right. So please, if there's one thing that you do take from this, please listen to your wife. Anyway, fake festivals was a fantastic experience for me. I mean, I remember on the night, the feeling of watching the bands, seeing hundreds of people dancing and singing their hearts out, singing Mr. Brightside, and really having a good time. It was a very special feeling, and one that I will carry for the rest of my life. For one night and one night only, I was a music producer, I was a festival organizer, I'd put on a party and I'd put a smile on people's faces. And actually, that's a very special thing that I will remember for the rest of my life. But was it a failure? Yes. We didn't do any more festivals after that. Did we just let it go? Was it? Would I do it again? Probably, yeah. But that's my fuck-up story.